Hey my dudes, my name is Cecilia and welcome to my kitchen here in Stockholm, Sweden. Today is Saint Lucia's Day. Saint Lucia is the patron saint of light, and this holiday is a huge deal in Sweden. Lussekatter, what we're making today, are saffron buns, and they are immensely popular. They are traditionally served on Saint Lucia's Day, but you can find them in stores starting as early as October. They are super delicious and one of my absolute favorite things to eat, so let's go make them.
Into a small pot, pour 500 grams of water, a double shot of cognac, and 2 very large pinches of saffron. You can add more or less of the saffron depending on how much flavor you'd like. Bring to a boil. As soon as it begins to boil, turn off the heat and let infuse overnight. The next day, take the bowl of your stand mixer and pour in all of the saffron infused water. To that, add 1,050 grams of flour, 200 grams of sugar, 25 grams of milk powder, 10 grams of salt, 200 grams of butter, and 50 grams of fresh yeast. Place on the stand mixer and, using the hook attachment, mix on low for about 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, scrape down the sides, then mix the dough on a medium fast speed for 25 to 30 minutes. Test the dough by dipping your fingers in some water and pulling off a piece. Stretch the dough with your fingers. If it starts to rip like you see here, it isn't ready yet and needs another 5 minutes on medium fast. The dough is ready when it looks like this as you stretch it. See how you can see my fingers through the dough? It has definitely developed enough gluten and is done mixing. Lay out a piece of plastic wrap. Take the dough out of the bowl and form a flattish, rectangular-ish shape. Wrap well in plastic and stick in the fridge for at least 1 hour to relax.
We are now ready. This has been in the fridge for several hours now. I would suggest having it be in the fridge for about an hour. This one has been in for 3 or 4 because I've been busy. Just want to add a little bit of flour just so it doesn't get completely stuck, but we don't want that much. We don't actually want it to be this cold, but stuff happens, right? It'll warm up, it'll be fine. What we really just want it to do in the fridge is relax and not proof any further, which is why like about an hour is good. It doesn't hurt it at all that it was in there for like 4 hours or whatever, but it just makes it a little bit slightly more like for us to use. Not as in bad, but as in like slightly more annoying. Slightly? We'll see. I didn't even explain what I was doing. I like to cut my piece of dough into strips, and then it's the strips that I then cut into pieces, and I'm looking to have about 60 grams here. This last tiny piece of dough here, I'm just gonna cut up into some really tiny pieces like this, and then just distribute. Now, if you don't want to portion these on a scale, you just wanted to do it by eye and by hand, cool, do that. So we're gonna take the ones that we cut first, and then we're going to round them. And I don't think I've talked about how to roll rolls here in a really long time, so we're going to go over it. You have your piece of dough here. What I basically do is I flip it over. So now the seam is like on the bottom, and I kind of tuck it under again, like that. And I am focusing on rounding with this part of my hand where the C, where it forms a C right here. I'm also using my fingertips just a little bit. So I'm kind of drawing it in, and this is going like this, and this is helping get that round skin on top. And once I feel like it's basically a round shape like this, that's when I go into rounding it, and you just go doo, 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 doo. And this part of my hand, like it is on the marble, but like it kind of goes off of the marble just a little bit, so I can feel this part of the dough like underneath my hand like this. And that way you can see my little like belly button, my little butt here, and then this is the smooth top. And that's what we're looking for. And then of course, once you really get the hang of it, you can do it with 2 hands. Every single job I have ever had in the food industry, I have had to roll rolls. every bakery, every restaurant job. There was a point when I was living in San Francisco where I had a part-time job alongside my full-time job, and the part-time job was literally to make the hamburger buns for this restaurant. So I would go in, make the dough, round it, proof it, and then bake it off, and then they would like freeze them in. And I did that like twice a week. So you'll get there. If you've never rolled a roll before, just practice. Okay, so again, we have this piece here, and this is the extra, right? Because I didn't scale it out to the correct amount. So I had to add extra dough. So this is obviously gonna be on the bottom. So I'm folding it over. I'm folding it over. So now it's already like smooth-ish on top. It's like sticky here. And it's starting to get rounder. I'm still with my fingers going like this. And that's how I continue to fold the dough over. And then once it's really round, that's when I switch to my little C motion and I go do, 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 do. Which is funny that I'm teaching you guys about this because this is like step one in shaping these. So more steps to come. The reason why we're rounding them now is to just help them now they have a smooth skin. Now they're a uniform shape. Now all of these little tiny pieces of dough that I've added on top are tucked in the side. So, because we're about to make some hot dogs. You'll see what I mean. And then I think the rest of these, okay, not you, I'll take those 6. So these ones I'm gonna show you how to do the classic LUSSEKATTER S shape. But with these guys, I'm gonna show you a couple different shapes just for funsies. And I'm not gonna measure these. I know that this was about 60, so they're gonna be 60 together. I'm gonna keep them in their little pairs, but we want them to be basically around 30. Most bakeries will make the S shape just because it's really easy. We, at the bakery I worked at, make this little I forget what it's called in Swedish, but it's like a little X. I'm gonna show you how to do that. But I can't, they had a really specific way of doing it and I just can't remember. So I'm gonna show you the way that it makes sense in my brain, but I can't remember the way that we used to do it at the bakery. Sorry. So starting from the one that is the most relaxed. So again, I'm starting from right to left. I don't know why I decided to move that way. Sometimes I decide to move in strange ways. You're gonna take your little ball, and I've already kind of squished it into a little hot doggy kind of guy. You just want to make a little hot dog. We're gonna work with you later. And see, this way, your hot dog, it's really smooth on top. If we had just taken those squares and immediately gone into hot dogs, they wouldn't be as nice and as uniform as they are right now. And the reason, again, we go from chunk to ball to hot dog to ropey, which I'll show you, and then twirl it up into a shape, is that the dough has to relax, even if it's just for a couple minutes. The dough needs to relax in between each one of those stages so it doesn't just snap back, right? You have to tell the gluten where to go, and then the gluten has to be okay, I guess I'll live here now. I guess I'll be this shape. And relax a little bit, and then you're no, you need to be a new shape, and the gluten's oh, fine. Okay, but I'm gonna live here now, right? If you just take it and you just keep working the gluten's no, I just wanna snap back, and then I'm exhausted, and then it's just annoying. It doesn't like it. So just do it this way. Okay? Okay. Good talk, good talk. I don't know if that made any sense, my personification of the gluten, but that's what made sense in my brain. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. I don't know. And then I make these little sausages, pair them back up. Aren't they so cute like this? I just think that they're just little yellow doughy hot dogs. They're hilarious. They're adorable. They're hilarious. They're just cute. So now I have my little sausage. This is the first one that I rolled, and you can see it's nice and floppy and relaxed. I can feel how relaxed it is. And I have this seam here, and it's on the bottom. I don't know what that is. Okay. And then you're just gonna roll it out even farther this time. This time we're really going for it. Now, if you were doing like a quadruple batch, or you just like, you feel like this is gonna take you more than 15 minutes to do, go ahead and put a layer of plastic wrap and just take one from under the plastic wrap as you go, if there's just like a lot, because you don't want them to form a skin at all. So now I've formed my little rope, and I'm just kind of letting it relax and then forming my rope again, and then I just twirl. So these are going opposite directions, and as I'm doing this, I'm kind of like picking it up because it kind of wants to stick to the marble. They're so cute. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Okay, but before you do even all of that, you want some parchment paper and a tray. So that way you can just go directly into having your little babies on your tray. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put that tray over here. And again, we roll out, making a rope, letting it relax a little bit, making that rope again. And I can also, first of all, I can tell this dough is really cold because I can feel the temperature with my fingers. But also, because it's so cold, it's like a little bit stiffer to roll out. When it gets warmer, it's like a little bit easier to roll into these ropes, just because then it gets even softer, but then it can also like form a skin and like proof a little bit faster, which is not super ideal. I don't know if that like made sense to you. I've made these so many times and I've worked with this dough so much that sometimes I feel like I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. And then we twirl, 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 twirl. And I try to make them like even, but honestly, I mean, ridiculous, so cute. I mean, have you ever seen anything more adorable in your entire life? No, you haven't. Take some raisins, and this part is very important. And a lot of people are team no raisin, but they're wrong. I don't know what else to tell you. Take your raisin, and you wanna go as deep into the little hole as possible, because you don't want them to like fly out. Like there's, if you don't press them in deep enough, when they proof and then when they bake, they can like explode and like pop out, and that's not nice. So all the way into the hole. You can really press it in with your thumb. Like look how deep that is in there. The thing is, they just don't look like LUSSEKATTER without the raisin. So like you can, if you really hate raisins in baked goods, you can pick it out when it's out of the oven. But like this is a non-negotiable when it's in the dough. So that's that on that. Also, they tend to poof up quite a lot, and you don't want them to touch each other at all, because that just like looks less nice. So I'm only gonna put 6 on here, and I'm going to cover them in some plastic wrap, so that way they can proof without forming a skin, which is really important. And when I put this plastic wrap on here, I've done it really loosely so that they have a lot of room to grow without stretching the plastic, because sometimes if the plastic is like hard over the top, then as they grow against the pressure of the plastic and they get really like trapped in there, and it's just not as cute, so don't do that. All right, now they're all plastics, and we're gonna put these to the side, and we just wait until they get like nice and poofy, double the size. My apartment is not warm right now because I left my window open on accident for too long. So it's gonna take me like at least 2 hours. In the meantime, we're gonna work on the little X's. You take your 2 little flobby sausages and you roll them out nice and thin. Now we have rope numero uno. We twirl so that they face each other like that. There you go. Oh yeah, it's also so cute. Other tray, more parchment paper. If I'm like this about like buns, can you imagine what I would be like if I actually had a child? Oh my God, I think my brain would explode. You can do it so that they cross, which is also super nice. So make a rope, put it to the side for a second, make your other rope, hopefully around the same length-ish, like that. And then we cross, and then they meet each other. You twirl in. Yeah. Oh my God. Like that. Honestly. It's just, it's so adorable. I cannot. All right. I'm gonna move these other sausages. There we go. Now, yet again, raisins, very important. Roll deep into the hole. Roll deep. Really squish them in there with your finger. So cute. And again, plastic wrap over the top. I'm gonna run out of plastic wrap here soon. There we go. I'm gonna shape the rest of these and wait for those to proof, and we will be back when they are all proofed up and ready to go. Look how absolutely adorable these are. These look so good. I'm so excited. They're about doubled in size. And they have these like bubbles, like right where the plastic wrap presses up against them. I can see like these bubbles, and that means that they are definitely ready to go. I have set my oven to 200 degrees Celsius, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I know my oven, I can only do one at a time, but these bake up really quick in like 6 to 8 minutes. So this tray, which is a little bit younger, newer, they can sit and wait for the other tray to be baked, no problem. So they keep their plastic wrap, and then these boys, we're gonna very carefully remove their plastic, and into the oven they go. Now, very important to these boys is to brush them with egg when they come out of the oven. And I do this with a lot of my buns. And the last time I did a video on this, I had someone comment like, ew, that's so gross. Like now there's raw egg on top of my bun. Okay, but so just so we can go over it. The reason why you brush with egg after you take it out is because that keeps your crust really moist. So it doesn't even like become a crust. If you were to take them out and just let them be out, they would be kind of dull. They would form, yeah, like a harder crust. But when you brush them with egg wash, the egg cooks almost instantly, right? Because the bun's like, the outside of the bun is like 400 degrees. It's been in a 400 degree Fahrenheit oven. So the egg cooks right away. And then because it adds a little bit of moisture to the crust, it's like there's not even a crust on there. They like keep the bun really, really soft and moist, and it gives us this really beautiful shine. And that's that on that. Yeah, I don't have anything more to say about that. You can skip it if you want, but your bun is more nice this way. So, and I'm not just doing this as like a janky home baker who's like determined to give salmonella to the entire country. Like this is what we do in the bakery I work at. Like this is what professionals do. Gives it that professional finish. See, really thin, even layer of egg wash. They're so fat. I love it when they're real puffy and fat and like well proofed. So we're gonna move these boys and pop these guys in. Into the oven they go. Oh my gosh. See how my raisin popped out of here? Even though I like pressed it all the way in? That's what I mean. So like, I'm serious when I say press it all the way in. I mean, press it all the way in. And egg wash time. So look at that shine. They're so beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna have one of these bad boys. It's still slightly warm, but it's not like hot anymore. They're so good. There's a lot of people in Sweden who are like, they like prefer saffron bullar, which are like saffron buns, and again, much more like a cardamom bun. They have like a vanilla or saffron filling, and they're much like sweeter. There's like more going on, but I love LUSSEKATTER for their simplicity. It's just like a lightly sweet, very saffron-y piece of bread, and this is like, they just disappear in my mouth. I could eat like 10 of these, which I often do when I'm working at a bakery. They're so good. And I love the raisins. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this week's video, then please like and subscribe. And I hope you have a happy Saint Lucia's Day and happy holidays in general, whatever you celebrate. Hej då!